All right. So, welcome to last chapter. It'd be lovely if you guys could leave your video on just so I can get a sense of facial expression, whether you're getting it or not. Believe it or not, I can kind of tell if you got a glazed over look. It'd be great if you had video on. I can't require it, but I would love it. It helps out a ton. Give you a heads up for this week, or for this week and next week. We have one chapter test left. It's chapter 3 on Monday. We're covering 3.1. You're going to find it pretty easy. 3.2 is tomorrow, 3.3 Wednesday, 3.4 Thursday, 3.5 on Friday. And then next Monday we will review, and then you'll have your final test next Tuesday. It's not a final, it's just a chapter 3 test, 3.1 to 3.5. And then you will be done. We're going to start out with inequalities.
And I need to get a grade up.
What's that, Madison? Do you need something?
No.
Oh, okay. We're going to start out with inequalities, graphing the inequality, and then writing an interval notation. This interval notation is probably going to be new to you guys. Probably haven't seen it before. Maybe you have, but most likely not. We are going to graph with just one variable today. Both these have x's in them. I'm going to change the next problems with put in a's, b's, c's, whatever. But because it's only one variable, we're only going to graph left and right. There's no y-axis today. So to get started here, we're going to graph. I'm going to give you on your assignment, you're going to see number lines with dash marks. And each problem you have to put a 0 somewhere. The first few I'm going to give you, the numbers are pretty small, so you're probably going to put your 0 somewhere in the middle. So I'm going to do that right now. And we want to get in the habit of saying that positive is always right and negative is always left, just like the x-axis in those xy graphs. Now, we have a less than symbol here and a greater than or equal to symbol here. The equal to is going to determine a closed circle, which includes the number. The one without the bar means not including the 3, so we will use an open circle when we go to graph this. So I'm going to go to 3. There's no numbers down here, so that means each tick mark is worth 1. So I'm going to go to 3. I'm going to put an open circle, once again, because it cannot be equal to 3. I cannot say 3 is less than 3. It's not true. So 3 is not part of the solution. And now, numbers that are less than 3 are what side of that circle? Are they to the right or to the left? If you want to shout it out, great. If you want to type in the chat, let me know what you think. Left, right, boom. Someone. To the left, correct. To the left. So we're going this way. Boom. Pretty good there. All right. So any number over here, we'll plug in and make this true. If I pick right here, -2 is less than 3, true. 0 is less than 3, true. And once again, because it's open, 3 is not less than 3. Now at the same time, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to graph this one. Draw a bar right here. Put a 0. And now -1 is going to be left of 0. But this time I have an equal to. I'm going to use a closed circle. Okay. Now, hopefully our internet doesn't cut out like it was first hour. Hopefully I have this figured out. Greater than. Greater than means we are going to go to the right this time. Okay. Plug in numbers to verify. 5. Is 5 greater than -1? True. This time, -1. Is -1 greater than or equal to -1? Yes, it is equal, so we fill it in. All right. Now, the new stuff, interval notation. Okay? Interval notation. It's going to look like a point. We're going to use 2 numbers with a comma in the middle, and we're going to use parentheses, but we're also going to use brackets. It is not a point. It's just telling you where the graph goes. It's just a different way to do this. So as I look at this graph here, how far is the graph going to the left, right? Interval notation is going to be left, comma, right. Okay, So as I go to the left, it's going to keep going and going, negative 100, negative 1 million, negative 1 trillion, whatever. That means it's going to negative infinity. So that is on the left. All right. The infinity symbol looks like a sideways 8. Oop, I didn't do a very good job there. Ew. Sometimes it's easier for me to just write 2 circles next to each other and connect them. All right, and then I'm going to put a comma sign. And then on the right, how far does the graph go to the right? Well, it goes to 3. All right. Infinities will always be parentheses. Okay. Open circles are going to be brackets. And closed circles, I'm sorry, I got that backwards. Open circles are parentheses. Closed circles are brackets. So, infinity symbol, parenthesis. No bar, open circle, parenthesis, not included. See if you guys can do the one over here. If you guys at any point have a question, feel free to turn your mic on and stop me or chat, but if you stop me with the microphone, I'll get stopped quicker, I promise. See if you guys can do the interval notation for this problem. All right. So now as I'm looking at this graph, left, how far left is the graph going this time? Anybody? Feel free to unmute.
-1.
-1. This time we're -1. This time the number's coming first. Once again, because it's on the left. Infinity was on the left over here. I got -1 over there. This time, the infinity symbol is on the right side. It's going on forever to the right. So I'm going to try the 2 circles connected for my infinity symbol. Infinity is always parenthesis. Closed circle means including that number, so we use the bracket. Everybody good? All right. So this is what your first group of problems is going to look like. They're going to give you inequalities. Now, I'm going to rate. Does anybody have, can I move on? Does anyone need me to go over anything? All right. So now the next group of problems you're going to get, it's going to go the other way. Now they're going to give you an interval. So now instead of starting with inequality, they're going to do this. Let's go. Let's go 2 parentheses. Positive infinity. So right now, we want to graph this, then write the inequality. All right. Let me see if you guys can work this one on your own. I'll check back with you in about 2 minutes. See if you can do the graph and the inequality.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I still didn't get the assignment.
Which assignment was that? The 3
This one that we're doing right now.
Okay, I'll try and send it out again once we're done with the lesson here.
All right.
Some kids were able to get it, some weren't. I'm not sure why. Did you check your apps account? Was it in? Wasn't in there?
I'll look.
All right. I sent it as an attachment in an email. Should show up as a PDF, hopefully. Oh, come on. Yeah, this is awesome. I'm going to try from home tomorrow. Hopefully it's just the school Wi-Fi that's being a pain right now. All right, here we go. I have 2, comma, infinity. Like I said, I've been pretty good, you guys, giving you problems right by 0, so I'm just going to put a 0 in the middle. Okay. You need to have a 0 every problem. And now where should I put my 2, and what kind of circle should I use at 2? Any takers? I'm going to use an open circle at 2. Again, because it's not a bracket, it's a parenthesis that's open. All right, and now this is the left, this is the right, so it's saying, hey, go to the right, deposit infinity, and we're done. Okay, now I'm going to pick a different letter. I'm going to pick a random letter. Let's go B. All right, I always put the letter on the left, I put the number on the right. You'll see why. You'll pick up on it pretty quick here. Our number is 2. And now I'm going to use my numbers going to the right are greater than 2. So it's 3, 4, 10, 100. So I'm going to use a greater than. And once again, because it's open, I will not put a bar down there. 2 is not one of the solutions. 2 does not make it true. All right. Now, once again, I want you to put the letters on the left, numbers on the right. The reason is if you do that, that arrow will point the same way as the inequality symbol. So it's going to the right, the inequality will point to the right, greater than. All right, the next one I'm going to give you is not going to be a pretty number. It's not going to be a number like 1, 2, 5, -3. It's going to be something out in space where you're going to have to use a scale. Okay, so let's say negative infinity. This red marker stinks. So negative infinity to -12. I use a bracket this time and a parenthesis. So I don't have 12 tick marks on here. It's not going to fit. Use a scale. That means write numbers in here. Put a 0. This time, because I'm using negative, it's going to go all the ways. I might move my 0 instead of in the middle. I might move it out to the right a little bit. So see if you can do that. Give about 2 minutes. Try and finish that one up. All right, it's looking like we got it. Anybody need any more time? Okay. Now, like I said, I have a -12. It's not a nice pretty number near the middle, so I'm going to put my 0 way over here. All right. Now I got to pick a scale. 12 is not too far away, so I might go by 2s. So I might go -2. I don't have to label every tick mark, but I should label it so I can see the pattern here. -2, -4, -6, -8, -10, -12, and so on. Okay. Bracket means closed circle. Include that as a solution. Now negative infinity is going to the left. It will look like this. Pretty good there with the scale. Okay. I'll pick a different letter. G. Okay. Now I'm going to put my number, -12. And once again, as long as my variable comes first, this tells me where to go. love this. All right. This is telling me I'm going to go left. So I have less than. And because it's closed, I have to say equal to. Negative 12 is less than or equal to negative 12 and any other number over here. All right. Please pay attention to this. You cannot do this. Somebody's going to do this on the test and they're going to lose points. Okay? They go like this. They have a bunch of tick marks. They don't put a 0 anywhere and they just go negative 12 and they close the circle and go left. Okay, there's no scale, there's no 0. You need all those things to make this a good graph. Right? Pretty clear there. Bad news, don't do this. All right. The third type of homework project you're going to get, they're going to give you a graph, and then you fill in the other two things. There's a total of 4 different types of problems that we'll get to today. The last part is solving. So let's give you a graph here. Okay, let's go. Here's 0. Open circle right. See if you can fill these 2 in, and I'm going to give you one over here. And then on this one, I'm using a scale. Make sure you get that in there as well. So once again, give you about 2 minutes. Find the intervals for both, the inequalities for both, and then I'll show you how to do the last set of problems and we'll get out of here. All right. Once again, you can start wherever you want. You can start with the inequality or start with the interval. I'll probably start this one with the inequality. I'll start the second one with the interval and work backwards on each. Okay. Inequality. Scale is 1. We're going out negative 4. Hopefully you're getting this. All right. Pick a letter. Say M. It's going to the right. Once again, open circle, no equal to bar. Doesn't include the answer. All right, now I'm going negative 4 because that's on the left. The right is positive infinity. Well, parenthesis, parenthesis. Hopefully you got what I do. Okay. This one, once again, we got a scale. I got 10, 20, 30 here, and then every other tick mark is missing, so that means we're going by a scale of 5. So I'm at positive 25. Once again, that's the left side of this. So I'm going 25. This time it's filled in, so we're going bracket, comma, infinity, parentheses. Okay. I'll do P for park as our letter. Our number's at 25. Once again, letter, number. Keep that order. P is greater than or equal to 25. Pretty good there. If you have any questions, once again, unmic, hey, stop. How'd you do this?
Mr. Leonard.
Yes, sir.
What's going on?
Not much. How you been?
I just trying to. I couldn't figure it out, then I finally figured it out. So that's good.
That's good. That's good. All right. Now for the final group of problems. So once again, you're gonna have one problem where you start with inequalities. You fill out the other two. Then the next group is they give you the interval. You fill out the other two. And then the third one is they give you a graph. You fill out the other two. Now the fourth one, they're going to give you equations, and you have to solve for the letter. We're going to do two examples. One's pretty easy, and the other one is kind of blown up. It's not hard. It's just a lot to remember. There's one rule that we have to talk about that requires us to flip. There's a time we have to flip the inequality back and forth. We'll go over that right now. Okay. If you multiply or divide both sides by a negative, you must flip your inequality. All right? And it's when you do it to both sides. This is the one thing you got to keep track of. Our directions now are going to say, this is our big reminder, directions are going to say solve the inequality, graph it, and then write as an interval notation. So those are the three things you're going to do. So once again, subtracting or adding doesn't flip the inequality. Multiplying or dividing both sides by a positive does not flip it. It's multiplying or dividing by a negative. All right, here's our first example. Let's go negative 3x minus 7 is, let's go greater than 20. All right, so we have problems that we've done before that look, that normally we have an equal sign here. We're going to undo. We're going to do PEMDAS in reverse. So we ask ourselves, what's being done to x? They're multiplying by negative 3, and they're subtracting 7. We have to undo both of those. We do the adding or subtracting first. How do I move negative 7 to the other side?
You add it.
We add it. We're going to add it. That adding does not flip things. We will add 7 to both sides of our equation. Actually, our inequality, I should say. The inequality symbol comes straight down. Cut it in half. 20 plus 7?
27.
27. Negative 7 and positive 7 cancel. We're left with the negative 3x. Good to go. Almost there. Almost there. Now, x is not being subtracted by 3. It is being multiplied by a negative 3. So we'll perform the inverse of that, which is dividing both sides by negative 3. Pretty good. When I do this to both sides by a negative, not a positive, by a negative, I have to do the flippy flip. Negative 3's will cancel. I will get x. 27 divided by negative 3 is negative 9. So we've solved the inequality. Now we're going to go back to doing what we were doing before. We're going to graph this one. And I'm going to give you a scale that I want you to use, see if you can figure out how to do it. I'm going to put my 0 over here. And this time, I'm going to go by 2's. We'll go negative 2, negative 6, negative 10, negative 14. There is no 9 in there. You have to figure out where to put your circle. See if you can do that, and then write it in interval notation. I'll give you about 2 minutes to see if you can do that. And then we'll have one problem that's kind of our tough one for the day.
Mr. Leonard,
Yes, sir.
is this off the assignment or just like a practice one?
These are just practice ones, yep.
All right. I'm letting you know that I'm going to be gone like maybe Wednesday through Friday.
Okay. There'll be, I'll have recordings that you can just play, and it shouldn't be an issue.
All right. I'm not going to have reception up north, so.
Okay. Maybe the next few days you want to watch the videos ahead of time. I got videos already pre-recorded if you wanted to look at those. They're maybe not as good as these, but it'd give you something, or you could watch them when you get back.
All right. Thanks.
You got it, man. All right. So to finish this one off, I got a -9, but my numbers go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Well, 9 is halfway between -8 and -10. So in that case, I'm going to put my circle, in this case it's open, right between those two. My less than is telling me I'm going which direction? Left. Life is good. Life is good. There we go. All right, interval notation. Once again, left side is infinity. Negative infinity. Don't forget that negative. You will lose points on the test if you don't. Is a parenthesis, and then we got -9, parenthesis as well. Once again, no bar, open circle means parenthesis. All right, you guys ready for the final problem? All right, this one's going to contain kind of everything. Again, if I start going too fast, unmic, tell me to stop. Give me your question so I don't go too fast. We're going to go 7. N plus 6 parentheses greater than or equal to 9 parentheses n minus 4 minus 4n. This is about the toughest thing you're going to see today. I have parentheses on both sides. I'm going to have like terms on one side. I'm going to have to move a variable one way or the other. Okay? I'm going to work with you through the first few steps, and then I'm going to let you finish the problem on your own. Anybody have any thoughts what we should do first? Don't be shy.
Distribute.
Distribute. We're going to bomb the 7 in. We're going to bomb the 9 in. They're both in front of parentheses. We're going to do that. All right. Now I'm multiplying, but I'm not doing it to both sides, so don't flip your inequality. I'm multiplying each one individually on their own side. That doesn't flip them, and they're also positive, so that wouldn't do it either. So once again, if I had a -7 here and I was just distributing in here, that would not flip it. It's when you do it to both sides. So as I distribute, 7 times n, 7n. 7 times 6, 42. This minus 4n is outside the parentheses. That's going to stay there. We're going to distribute the 9. 9 times n is 9n. 9 times -4 is -36. All right, we're getting close, getting close. Now, I cannot combine these two. This one has an n, this is a 42, no n. Over here I have n, and a number. These two can be combined into one term, right? 9n minus 4n, if you think about it, just 9 minus 4 is 5. So I'm going to get 5n minus 36. I don't do any flipping because I'm just simplifying. I'm going to get 7n here plus 42. All right, now we're going to start getting, we're not quite ready to solve yet. We have one more simplifying step. When we had equations, I said, hey, feel free to subtract 7n from both sides or subtract 5n from both sides and have your n on either side. I'm going to encourage you strongly to always move the variable from the right side to the left if we have two variables. All right? Now, this is a positive 5n. So to get to the other side, I must subtract it. If I had a negative 5n here, I would add it to both sides. Okay? Once again, subtracting does not flip the inequality. We'll bring it straight down. Nothing happens. 5n minus 5n, bye-bye. Negative 36 is here. 7n minus 5n is 2n plus 42. Now we're getting very close. We're going to undo the opposite of adding and multiplying. I'm going to subtract 42 both sides. Once again, subtracting does not flip either. It stays. All right. Negative 36 minus 42. Be careful with your math there. Some people are like, oh, that makes it positive. That's multiplication. A negative minus a negative is still negative. We'll get negative 78. 42s cancel. I get 2n. We are almost done. Almost done. We have multiplication by 2. I am going to divide by 2. I'm not seeing anybody stopping me yet, so I'm assuming we're okay. Check the chat. Oh, shoot. All right. Now, this number is negative. It's being divided, but I'm not dividing by a negative on both sides. The negative was already there. We're dividing by a positive. So once again, do not flip. So when you divide or multiply by a negative on both sides. 2's cancel. N is greater than negative 39. Okay. Here's what I want you to do for your graph. I want you to use a scale of 5. It's not going to land on a nice, pretty number. I'm going to put 0 way over on the right because we have a negative 39. I'm going to go 5, 10, negative 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. All right. See if you can graph it and write the interval answer. And then you'll be on your way to your assignment. All right, negative 39. Where am I going to put that? Think about that. Where am I going to put that on the graph? There is no 39 up there. There's no odd, there's odd numbers, but they're going by 5s. Negative 5, negative 10, 15, 20. So it's going to be between 35 and 40, much closer to 40. So I'm going to put my solid circle, because of the bar, equal to just before the 40. Not in the middle, closer that way. And now greater than. Greater than means we're finding numbers bigger, going to the right. Negative 20 is greater than negative 39. 0 is greater than negative 39. All of these are greater. We go bracket, parenthesis, And now I'm going to fill in my numbers here. 39 is on the left. Infinity is on the right. As we get further into this chapter, we're going to start having things where we might have two things here and then two things here, and it won't always be infinity. But that's coming. Just relax. Does anybody have any final questions before I end this part of it? Okay. So what I'm going to do is, if you want to jump off and start on the assignment, I'll try resending it one more time to your Google Apps account. You can work on the assignment. I'll probably leave this window open. If you want to ask questions, I'll be here until 11:15. So if you want to stay on the chat, feel free. If you want to jump back in, just type in Leonard. Either way, I'm good with it. Just let me know.